So, how are you? How are you keeping? How's the week been? At the time of recording this is the 101 episode of Life Coaching on the Move. We are quite significantly out of lockdown now in the UK. We're allowed to sit inside in pubs, we're allowed to go to cinemas, we're allowed to go bowling, have people indoors. Life feels so much freer. But I don't know about you. So have you been enjoying that? Have you done much about it? At the same time as having that freedom, the weather has been absolutely diabolical. So there's been a bit of a dampener on it, but it doesn't matter so much because we can go inside. So I've had... when I knew that 17th of May was looming and that we were probably going to be told that we could go and socialise in restaurants and things like that, I made it my mission to book to see so many people in a restaurant, have a nice bite to eat or a pub or do something or have people around, that I didn't think this through at all well. And I realised I had virtually every day booked out, every night booked out. Seeing my sister one night, a niece, a girls' night out the next night, and then my husband and I with friends and husbands and wives for dinner, then a different group on Saturday. I was out training with the dog most of yesterday in the woods. It's just been back to back to back to back. Very bad planning. At the time, I thought it was a great idea, very exciting. But what I didn't realise, and this is what I'm trying to say, is how are you finding the socialising? Actually, I've been really shocked at how much effort it has actually proven to be because we're so out of the habit. It seems so unnatural now. It seems an effort to actually get changed and put makeup on and make a fuss of your hair and the struggle of, well, what shall I wear? Because we haven't had to put anything else other than, I don't know, joggers or gym clothes or jeans and that sort of thing on for so long. Even when we're on Zoom, so many people are saying they've got the pyjama trousers on or something like that. Just a nice blouse at the top or something. So it's been so laid back and easy and stress-free, hasn't it? It's not been great because we've missed all of those people, but it has been easy. And now suddenly it's exhausting going out, the planning, the preparation for it, and the actual socialising and chatting and late nights and richer foods, bigger meals, bigger portions because it's restaurants and you're having 2 or 3 courses and the booze on top. It has been quite an adjustment. It's hit my system hard. So how has it been for you? But as I've always said, we've got to adjust, we've got to adapt, we've got to be flexible. And so I'm making it my mission to adapt fast and to go with it and get used to it and enjoy it because it's been a long, long time coming. But it's been tiring. Late nights have hit me hard because I'm still doing early starts. So we're going through a time of adjustment, aren't we? Joking apart, we are going through a time of adjustment because, COVID is ever evolving. The approach to it, the fight against it, who's had vaccines, who's had double vaccines, who hasn't, what are the new rules and regulations and so on. So we are really, really having to be flexible, aren't we? So I don't know where I'm going on this because it wasn't actually the plan, but I thought I would just share my my week with you and the shocking struggle with how it has been with socialising. Maybe I just did too much too soon. And from here on, perhaps my pendulum swung to the other extreme and it will balance in the middle and find a nice equilibrium. So I hope you've been enjoying it. I hope you're adjusting well to it. And from my point of view, I'm going to make small tweaks and just stagger it and make sure I still get the sleep. Because for some reason, lack of sleep seems to be a bit of a badge of honour with us humans. We sort of feel that it's testament to a good social life, or we're working hard, or we're stoic, and but it's not the case. I do firmly believe, passionately believe that I can function. I'm happier, I'm calmer, I'm more sociable, I'm a better thinker, I'm more have much more clarity, much more creativity, much more professional when I've slept. I think my immune system's better, my skin is better, everything is better. My fitness, how I run, everything is affected by how much sleep I have or haven't had. So that is a priority for me. So, and I do believe it should be for everybody. The most powerful statistic that I heard that confirmed that what I was believing was right, when our clocks changed. I have said this before, but I will repeat it because I think it's a powerful fact. When our clocks change here in the UK, in the spring they spring forward, and in the autumn they fall back, so they go back an hour, and we lose an hour's sleep. In the spring they go forward, so we gain an hour's sleep. I think that's right, but one way or the other we lose an hour 6 months, and 6 months later we gain an hour's sleep. Now the time when we get an extra hour's sleep, there are, I believe, 26% less heart attacks that day than normal. Similarly, the 6 months later, when we lose an hour's sleep here in the UK, there are 24% more heart attacks that day than the normal average. And I think that just confirms everything we probably all know. We don't function well when we've had little sleep or poor quality sleep, but it just goes to show how profound it has an effect on us physically. And if we need any more data than that to convince us, and I don't know what more we could be told, really. It is so important, and it's not a badge of honour. It's far better to get that one natural thing that we can aim for, that can underpin and help everything we do, whether it is our fitness, whether it is our work, our professionalism, whether it's our parenting, whether it's our health and our immune system, whether it's our appearance. Everything benefits from good quality sleep. Equally, as I've always said, everything benefits from good social connections and good quality friendships and relationships and human interaction and contact. So it is really good that many of us are emerging from lockdown, that we can see each other, we can spend time with people in their company, feeling their energy, feeling their mood, just their aura, if you want, or give them a hug and just be in their energy and spend time with other people that we love and enjoy. So for all of those reasons, I feel everything is looking up. The weather isn't looking up yet, but apparently that's on the horizon. So things are good and we need to make the most of it. But balance, I think. What I've learned over this week is I need to find some balance, both with the nutrition, the food, the too many big meals, the more alcohol than normal, all of that. I need to balance that by drinking more during the day. Yesterday I had a bit of a headache because I realised that I'd been out in the woods with the dog training. I'd barely drunk anything all day after a night out. Not a heavy night. It wasn't by any means a heavy night, but a couple of glasses of wine. So, it takes its toll on our body, and we need to hydrate and have some exercise and stuff like that. But what I was going to talk about today as well was how much better life is if we aim for keep it simple or KISS. Keep everything simple, keep it simple. Because when we do keep things simple, they're much easier to apply, it's much more likely to become part of our routine. It's much more likely to happen if we keep it simple. The minute we complicate things and it's too long and drawn out, or we overload, or we've got too much going on, we just do not function well. So if we can keep life simple, keep it simple, keep our approaches simple, that's going to be my mantra for this week. Keep it simple. make it easier for yourself. I suppose that's another word. Don't make it a struggle. Don't make things hard. Actually, I was having this conversation with my husband. I may have mentioned before that we're doing the Land's End to John O'Groats virtual walk. We're walking from Land's End to John O'Groats over the year. We started on January the 1st. There's a big thing you can sign up to. And you can do it at your own pace. You're not racing with anybody. You can run it, you can walk it, you can do a little bit every day. So we're signed up for this, and it's good. It's great. We've got all our friends involved. Lots of people are involved, but there are thousands and thousands doing it on the virtual website and on the Facebook page and things, and you get a medal and a t-shirt at the end. But it's just great seeing where you are on the map, following your progress in the UK. And I've been uploading all our data, every walk that we do. And so I'm I don't know how I've taken this role on, but I seem to be responsible for uploading everything and then reporting to Neil once a week where he is, where I am. And so last Monday I uploaded as normal, and he sent a message saying, so where am I? And I sent one back saying, you're just on the outskirts of Birmingham. And that was fine. And he asked where I was, and I didn't actually directly reply because I'm further than him and didn't want to demotivate him. It's much easier for me because I walk the dogs every day. So I just upload a 3-mile walk or something like that every day. It's just part of my routine. It's not actually any more of a challenge for me, but it is good because it's getting him out, and he works, so he can't do the dog walks every day. But it does encourage him to do more at weekends if he can. Anyway, but he asked again at subsequent, so where are you? And it was so pointed that I couldn't worm my way out of it. So I had to tell him that I was at John O'Groats, which is so demoralising when you're just at Birmingham. And his face dropped and he looked mighty hacked off. But this weekend I wasn't able to walk with him because I was on this training day. So he went for a walk with the older one, our older dog, and he did, I think, 14 miles. But the dog was limping at the end because, of course, she's a spaniel. She does far more. She sweeps all over the place and gets in amongst the undergrowth and is charging across tracks and woodlands and things. So she was shattered, but so too was he. Now, he's used to doing long walks, but it's just too much. He as well, we'd had the night out. He hadn't had much sleep because he's been socialising. And 14 miles, we've worked out that we need to do on average 16 miles a week. But it's too much, and it's going to demotivate him, and it's going to make it difficult and a chore and a task and too hard. And there's going to be too much pressure on him. And I said to him, you need to do a little bit in small chunks. Maybe the week before he had done a couple of evening walks to the pub, and then me or our son would pick him up, and a mate, they'd do a walk together to the pub and then have a beer, and then we'd pick them up. So he would get 3 or 4 miles under his belt. I said to him, maybe the better thing, the easier thing for you is to get up in the morning a little bit earlier, half an hour, and join me on a dog walk. Just do 3 miles or something every other day. Or at lunchtime at work, go for a walk. Walk to the supermarket to get your sandwich or whatever you do, instead of drive and things like that. And do the occasional evening walk to the pub with a mate. You're socialising, you're having a drink, but you're also getting a few miles under your belt. Rather than try and do it all in one go. He was so knackered that he ended up taking the newspaper to bed and pretty much spending the rest of the day in bed, which some might argue is a really perfect weekend, a long walk with the dog, newspaper, in bed and sleep. But actually he felt grim. He looked grim. It wasn't enjoyable. It wasn't how he particularly wanted to spend the weekend. And it felt like a chore. It felt like he had no choice and he had to do it. So we were talking, and I was saying, if we just, in life, break things down into smaller chunks, more achievable chunks, we're much more likely to do them, small bursts. Even with the housework, sometimes I'll have a day for the housework, and I'll do it from top to bottom. But other days, I think there's too much on in the week. I've got too many clients, I've got too many workshops or something. I'll do just all the floors on one day, clean the sinks and bathroom and shower and whatever on another, and break it up over the week. And actually that's it's much more, what's the word? Not enjoyable, because housework just isn't enjoyable. Palatable, but it's not. It's preferable, I suppose, is about the only word. It's still the wrong one. So just breaking it up. But I think this is true, isn't it, of most things. I have a client at the moment who really is struggling in life. And I was saying to her, what would bring you a sense of achievement and joy, and what would turn life around for you? Because at the moment there isn't much positivity in her life. There's a lot going on, a lot of negativity, a lot of struggle for many, many reasons. And we together are trying to get some positivity in there, get some focus and some purpose and some direction. And her one thing is she would love to write a novel. She's got a novel in her head. It's been there for years. It keeps evolving, keeps changing. It almost obsesses her. But I said to her, okay, well, why don't you start? Why don't you just put something down? And she immediately then went on to how perfect it would, but it would be rubbish because unless it's perfect, it's a failure to her, those sorts of things, all those sorts of self-sabotaging comments that, and I was explaining to her, no book is ever written straight off, ever. It's written in draft, and it's edited and changed, and there are new drafts. But the key thing is you cannot edit, amend and improve something if it's in your head. If it's not down on paper, it can't be tweaked, it can't be improved, it can't evolve and grow into that end product, that end result, that huge sense of achievement. The first step is getting something down. From that, you can manicure it, you can make it what you want. And as I said to her, there's no point trying to go the extra mile in life if you haven't taken the first mile, if you haven't done the first mile, because our strive for perfectionism often prevents us doing anything in the first place. So actually, her fear of it being rubbish and failing and not amounting to anything is being sort of recognised by her not writing anything. She is achieving her biggest fear by not trying it. The only way it can ever possibly be a success is by trying it and putting something down and then working on it. So otherwise, her strive for perfectionism, if not, she will, because of fear of failure, is being achieved anyway because she is failing by not doing it. So what we decided that maybe she could just do little bite-sized chunks, just an hour or half an hour a day or 2 sides a day, something like that, and no more. Don't make it overwhelming. Don't think about the big picture. Don't let it be all-encompassing and terrifying. Do it in small bite-sized chunks, a little bit like Neil changing his approach to the walk, where it's not all one in one go and absolutely cripple yourself and grow to hate it. Do little bits and enjoy them. I started at the same time as him because I just do 3 miles-ish a day, sometimes a long run at the weekends, but on average, three-ish miles a day. I have, before May, got to the Scottish borders. And it is so rewarding when you think, God, that is a hell of an achievement. But you don't recognise it until you plot it, you record it. So another thing to do as well is to record your achievements. And I get people to do this, record, instead of focusing so much exclusively on a to-do list, which I do definitely support. I think it definitely helps us keep it simple. If we just put it out on paper, record it down, what you've got to do in that day, you don't overthink and try and desperately remember and keep thinking, keep rethinking and clutter our minds and make it chaotic. You've recorded it, it's down on paper, you've let it go, you've freed up your mind. If we've got too much going on in our mind, we're trying to remember everything, it's going round and round and round like a washing machine on spin, or it's building up for a spin. It's a bit like having so many files on our desktop, on our computer. It goes slower. If we've cluttered it up with too many large files and photos and, the email's full and things like that, it slows right down. Sometimes we have to move things, file them, put them into folders, move them, delete them, empty the bin on our computer, sort the files out, get rid of all the spam and the junk in our email, clear it, declutter it, and the computer works faster. We're the same. Our brains are the same. So declutter it. Record it all on a list of to-do. You've got it out, an action plan, make yourself an action plan, diarise it on your calendar, what you're going to do. You're going to do that project on that day, this spreadsheet on this day, those slides on this afternoon, that meeting tomorrow. You feel so much better, all planned, all prioritised, all out and recorded, and it's all simple then, it's decluttered. Similarly with a computer, sometimes you've just got to press reset. And when you just switch it on and off and let it reset, it works well again. We're the same. And I think going back to what I was saying about sleeping, I think sleep is our way of resetting. We can come back to it in the morning after a good night's sleep, feeling so much better, so much more human with it, clearer minded, with a good to-do list. It's all planned out, action plan, etc. You know what you're doing, you're on top of it. You start on a roll, you're in control. Keep it simple. Go from one task to another, focusing exclusively on that task at that time. Total focus. Finish it, complete it, go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. Keep it simple. And then the icing on the cake is, at the end of the day, write down an achieved list. A done list, because that equally makes you feel good. Because again, if you're having a bad day, you're beating yourself up, you think you've been rubbish, you don't feel you've been very productive, write a list of actually all the things you have achieved, and that totally changes your mindset. You see it down on paper and you think, God, actually I've really achieved today. I have done loads. I've done this and I've done this and I've done this. That's not a bad day at all. And you finish the day on a bit of a high, being kind to yourself, feeling good rather than feeling rubbish or a failure and beating yourself up. We don't want that. So we need to master how our mind views things, and we're in control of that. Again, we're in the complete driving seat. My youngest, Sam, finished school pretty much on Friday. He finished on Friday, and because he's done his GCSE assessments. They're not doing GCSEs as such because of the COVID, but they've had a month of assessments. I think they've had over 40 assessments in a month, and now the teachers can amalgamate all of those scores and submit them with good evidence, with real confidence that they've got their predicted score right and based on what they've been doing. So he's had a busy month and he's finished now. So he's now off pretty much for 16 weeks, which is a long stretch over the summer, before college starts in September. And I have said to him, you're not going to just sit on the Xbox all day, every day and achieve nothing. And so today, I got him out there cutting the grass, partly for some movement, mostly for vitamin D and some sunlight, or he'll sit in on a computer all day. It's not good for him, not good for his sleep or his immune system. So I got him outside in a bit of blustery wind before the rain arrived this afternoon. And when he finished, I said, that's really, really good. Thank you so much. And I want you to aim to achieve at least one thing every day in these holidays. Just one thing, even if it's just doing a little game of tennis with your mate, or going bowling or something with a friend, or mowing the grass or taking the dogs for a walk. You just want to achieve one thing, so that at the end of the day you can think, what have I done today? Oh, I did the grass, rather than just waste it on YouTube. And not that he considers that a waste at all. I think he probably considers it as a major feat, but it's not. So that also reminds me of, I was thinking about him the other day. He was saying that his history teacher had alluded to the fact that he felt that Sam had done very, very well in history. He can't give grades or anything like that, but he said you should feel proud of what you've done. And Sam was telling me, but I think everybody's really nervous about history because we had 3 assessments and we all felt paper 1 and paper 2 was fine. And everybody was saying how hard paper 3 was and that they didn't know what to write. They didn't have anything to write. But that he did. He felt he did because he remembered at some point during all the revision and the classes, at some point during the year, his history teacher had given them a table, or they'd done a table, with all sorts of economic history, war, the economic effect of that, the religious input, or something like that. It was a table with how they were all interrelated, the economy, the war, the religion, etc., etc., something like that. I can't quite remember, but Sam was saying he remembered his teacher said, you need to learn this. If you learn this, you can build on it, and that's all you'll need to know on this bit of history of something. And Sam remembered that. And Sam is very good at doing the bare minimum if he can. He'll do it, and he'll do it well, and he'll get it. But he is not one that believes you should go any further or necessarily read around it, unless he's hugely interested, and then he'll watch stuff and read stuff. Anyway, so he had learnt that table apparently, and he's quite quick and quite sharp. He has his dad's brain, not his mum's brain, and he gets it quite easily. So he had memorized this graph, and then whatever the questions were, he talked around it, just drawing in from his memory this graph and the dates and the facts. And so isn't this often the way where we try and go the extra mile, we go round it, we complicate it, so he again was another example of where you keep it simple. He remembers he just needs to learn this graph. That's literally all he did, he says, and he feels that that's what made him have the edge. If we haven't had the grades through yet, if that's right. But it seems to make perfect sense from what he was saying and how he felt as a result of that exam. He'd been able to write all the time and use the time, whereas others were sat round not knowing what on earth to write and sort of really, really scrappling around for things to put in. We'll see. The proof will be in the pudding. However, I do think it's a great example of perhaps when we often overcomplicate things in work, in our lives, things like that. Why do we overcomplicate things? Why don't we take the easier route to achieving things, such as a little walk every day? It's not such a mammoth task, and we then have our weekends freer and feel less exhausted or less demotivated, doing tasks in a more simple way. We get them done. If we overcomplicate things, like my client, if she just writes for an hour, half an hour, 2 sides a night, that will build, like from Land's End to John O'Groats, or at the moment Gretna Green, it slowly builds. So I remember the statistic that if we improve something or work on something and aim for 1% improvement on, say, 10 things, rather than 10% improvement on one thing, because 1% improvement on 10 things is far more achievable, realistic, manageable than 10% improvement on one thing, and probably will reap far more benefits as a result. If you think about that 1% gain, if we're saving money and we get 1% interest, it builds and builds and builds over years and years. If we try and overachieve on something and then give up and it finishes and we stop, there's no improvement. So even if it's your fitness or your nutrition, that's something else that Sam decided 5 or 6 weeks ago, that he wanted to eat better. He wanted to feel better in his own body. And so he stopped all the rubbishy things that he used to have. He used to put together a little snack in the evenings with the dogs, go into YouTube, sit with the dogs and just munch on rubbish, and then go to bed, and it would turn, it was awful, horrible, high fat processed, sugary things. My fault. I shouldn't have been in the house in the first place. Totally my fault. But he has stopped all of that, and he looks so much better, and he feels so much better. You can tell he feels better in himself. But it was a simple change. He didn't have to calorie count. He didn't have to have special meals or special milkshakes or anything like that. He just made a small tweak, which was not to eat rubbish in between the meals. And what meals he is having are better meals. So he still has treats. He still has 2 treats a week of his favourite things. He loves Nutella on pancakes for breakfast on a Saturday. That's his treat. And he's not prepared to give that up, and nor does he need to. He doesn't need to. We've all got to have treats and balance. Again, we're back to that same word. Balance, but small changes, and he's already reaping the benefits. So if we use that phrase, keep it simple or KISS, it's going to be much more likely, sorry, I nearly fell off my chair, much more likely to happen and much simpler. By the way, the other thing I wanted to share, just a little gift, you may well know about this, but I was so excited by it that I felt compelled to share. I discovered, my son has been talking about this app called What 3 Words. Now, you may well know this. If you do, then we're finished. The podcast is concluded and you can stop there. But this free app is called What 3 Words. And my son told me about it ages and ages ago, because he worries that I'm often in woods by myself, miles from anywhere, running or walking the dogs, and I could easily fall over, rip my knee or break a leg or something, and I wouldn't know where I am to call the emergency services. I could call them with my phone because I have my phone with me, but I wouldn't know how to describe where I am because I'm in a wood somewhere. I know what wood, but I wouldn't be able to describe where, on what path I am for them to find me. And I'm often in quite lonely woods. I don't tend to go in parks where there's hundreds of dogs. Anyway, What 3 Words, you can press that app. If I fell over and broke my leg, I could press that 3. And every single square metre in the world has 3 allocated random words to it. And all the emergency services and breakdown services, so if you broke down and called the RAC or something and said, I don't know where I am, I'm out and about, it's dark, there are no streetlights, I'm in the countryside, I don't know this area, I've been to a meeting, I don't know where I am, and I've broken down. If you press What 3 Words, it gives you the 3 words for that square metre that you're stood in. You give it to the RAC. They absolutely know exactly where you are because they use those 3 words to press on one of their navigation systems, whether it's Waze, Google Maps, the sat-nav, whatever it is, all of the electronic navigation things, and it just navigates you to it. So yesterday when I was going to a wood miles away, about an hour's drive that I'd never been to before, the trainers sent me What 3 Words. I just fed that in to the app, pressed Google Maps, and it directed me, and I literally ended up in this woodland miles from anywhere where they were, all convening, all stood there without an issue. Whereas the month before, when they'd sent me a postal code and I'd used it on my sat nav, it sent me the wrong place. It didn't know where I was. It sent me to that name and some houses, but it certainly wasn't a woodland, the right woodland, and I got horribly lost. And considering it's search and rescue training that I'm attending, I failed miserably to even find where I was supposed to be meeting them, let alone anything else. The irony. So if you haven't already got What 3 Words, for 2 reasons. A, you can find wherever you want to go and use it as a navigation system. And B, it's a safety. That's mainly why I'm telling you. For safety, if you ever break down in an unknown place by yourself and you haven't got a clue where you are and you want the emergency services to find you, or there's somebody's harmed or hurt, or you're hurt on a walk or something and you don't know where you are, it is so helpful to be able to just go on. It's so simple, so easy. It's the best thing. And even in a boat, if you're drifting on a lilo or something, you can press What 3 Words and they can find out where you are, and the RNLI can find you. So it is phenomenal. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. It's a must. So I want to wish you a really simple week, really straightforward, efficient week with balance. Make it easy, use good to-do lists, write a done list or an achieved list, feel good about it, get loads of sleep, get loads of balance, and just apply, keep it simple. So have a great week and take care, and I'll speak to you on the next week's episode of Don't Tell Me the Score. That's a different podcast one I listen to. Mine is Life Coaching on the Move. Take care.